Hi there, I'm Julie Downey, the Athlete's Yoga Coach, and a couple weeks ago I taught an upper body shoulder workshop, and I saw something really interesting, and I want to share it with you, and then we're going to do a little exercise that I actually taught at the workshop. So the one thing I want to say before we begin is if you have an existing shoulder or arm injury, I want you to check with your doctor first. This thing I'm about to show you is going to be a weight-bearing exercise, so if you're injured, you got to check in first, find out if you're healthy enough to do the exercise. Otherwise, you can watch the video, but I don't want you to do it. So I'm assuming you're healthy. And here's what I saw at the workshop. I had about 60 people in the workshop with me, and I asked around the room, does anybody have a shoulder injury? And we got a lot of hand raises. And the interesting thing about that, I wasn't surprised about shoulder injuries, but the interesting thing was all the injuries were up here. Okay, so across the board, the entire room, everybody's injury happened to be on the upper part of their shoulder. Now, it might be upper part in front or upper part in back, but no one had an injury underneath their shoulder blade. And that's the little exercise I'm going to show you today. That's the secret to protecting your shoulder. And I work with a lot of athletes, as you know, and they tend to get shoulder injuries. And so this lower stabilizing exercise will be very useful to you. So the area we're going to work with, and I'm going to just sit on my block here, is called serratus anterior, and it's a lower stabilizing muscle. So if you were sitting and you had your right arm in front and you reached the arm forward and you kept your elbow lined up with your shoulder, you'll feel a little action under there, right here, under the shoulder blade, and you can do it for yourself. I recommend you try it. You just sit, keep your elbow lined up to your shoulder, reach the arm forward, and then try to lift it, reach it forward, push it up, and you'll feel a little action down there at the bottom of the shoulder blade. So that's what we're going to work with. And this exercise is going to require that you have a block. So I'm going to get off my block. And you know, these can be found practically everywhere now, but you're going to need one. So what you're going to do is take the block and put it on the mat, and you're going to put your elbows around the block, right? I'm holding the block. I want the hands flat, and I just want you to pick up the block, lower it, hover it above the mat, and then move your chest forward over the block, and you'll feel those lower stabilizing muscles engage. Now that's the least weight bearing that we would do in this series. The next step is, could you lift your block, lift your hips, lower the block, move your chest forward over the block and hover. And you got to look at your hands and make sure they're flat, and then you come down. All right, so that was even harder. And then the next stage would be, could you lift your hips and lift your block without dropping it, and then lower it without touching the floor, and move your chest forward over the block. And those aren't easy, okay? But I want you to start working with them. So I want these lower stabilizing muscles of the shoulder to get more active, because that's going to start to protect the top. Now I've just shown you the tip of the iceberg, but I want you to start working with that exercise, and that is the big secret to preventing a lot of shoulder injury. So if you want more, I hope you'll stop by my website. It's juliedowney.com. Take a look at all the archives in the blog. I've got a number of videos posted now. And shoot me a comment or a question. I'll talk to you real soon. Thanks.